Why retro games? Why retro gaming? What keeps drawing us back? It's that, you know, muscle memory of playing those games when we were kids. It's the music of those games and the experiences of those games that keep bringing us back and reminding us of when we were kids. The memories are vivid. The Saturday mornings in your pajamas, getting the cereal, sitting down to the NES, popping in a game and just, playing until your fingers were raw. Kind of wrong, but you get the point. And yet we have an entire industry around collecting retro games, buying retro games, streaming retro games, playing retro games, because it's that yearning for a time when things were easier. At least it was easier in our minds because we were kids. We had no responsibilities. We had no commitments. Our only obligations then were to clean our room and wipe our ass. So what is it now? I mean, I'm a 40-something adult and I keep going back to those classic games from when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, or, just 20 years ago isn't that long. I was still an adult, but it's far back now that it's considered retro, and there are kids just discovering these games today. There's something comforting about going back in time to when the games were exactly the way they were. They weren't, these 60-hour cinematic experiences, which, don't get me wrong, I love them. I love games of every type and genre, and whether it's 4 hours or 120 hours or the 3,000 hours I sunk into Eve. Don't at me, I know. But there's something about going back to those classic games that just, they seemed, some of them were harder, I mean, Battletoads, but some of them were just, you went pew pew, playing Contra, you used the Konami code, and you had the infinite lives or the infinite continues, or you played stuff that was just weird and difficult, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the movie spin-off games, Cool Spot. There's so many different systems. I mean, we had Atari, Coleco, and television, and then the NES, and eventually PlayStation and Xbox, and all these things, all these games. Thousands and thousands of games, some of which you can play now, whether it's through a browser or emulator, or you dig out the old machine, or you go to retro shows and you play them, or they get released in new bundle collections that are updated for PC. There's so many avenues to which we can experience our childhood over and over again that I don't think we'll ever see a time when retro gaming becomes less popular. There's always going to be some subset of gaming culture that's going to adore the classics. They're going to want to dive in to the older games, some of which are horrible, don't get me wrong, but we're still going to play them. We're still going to create content around them, because ultimately it's that sense of familiarity and sense of comfort, like a security blanket. I mean, you hear the Mario tune, or you hear the Legend of Zelda opening theme, Final Fantasy. You hear those, your skin prickles, and you just remember the sense of fun that you had. The moments that you could just be in an experience without having to worry about anything, or you're playing games with your friends, like all the stupid sports games we had on Super Nintendo that drove us nuts, or the silly sound effects and Excite Bike. It's about memories and comfort. So why retro gaming? Because we love games. We love the impact that they've had on us. We love the impact that they are having on us. And, we're always going to keep going back. And they're going to be there to go back to, we hope. That's why the video game museums are so important. The retro collecting scene is insane with the prices, at least in US, Canada. Europe, it's a completely different dynamic. Japan is completely different as well. But there's always going to be a place in our hearts for these retro games. And hopefully we can share that with our kids and keep passing it on to future generations so that the games we grew up on and love continue to capture hearts and minds. So, why retro games? Because we love them. I hope, I just wanted to wax a bit of video game philosophy, I guess. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm probably going to do more things like this going forward, whether it's on this channel or on my retro channel. And like, subscribe, it's YouTube. You know what to do. Hit the notification bell. Anyway, just let's talk about your favorite retro games. Put them in the comments. And should I do that Final Fantasy Top 10 that most of you will hate me for? Because a lot of the Final Fantasy games that people put in their top 5 aren't in mine. And if I do this list, it's going to include other games that aren't the main line 1 through 14, 16, wherever we are now. So yeah, have a great day. Play a retro game. Cuddle up with something that you love and you remember, and just relive those moments. Cowabunga, dude.